So let's discuss day 3 with the author of The Mind of a Conservative Woman and Senate Judiciary Committee member. She was asking the questions. Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee joins us. Good to have you back, Senator.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Okay, so day 2 of the public questioning has wrapped up now. I want to read something from Newsweek. When it was expected that Judge Barrett was going to be announced as the nominee, this headline says, replacing RBG with a woman like Amy Coney Barrett is beyond tokenism. It's an affront. She said, if the president succeeds in appointing such a staunch opponent of reproductive rights to the court, he'll advance his own agenda of turning women's rights back 50 years. Appointing Barrett could well result in the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and the assault on sexual and reproductive rights will not stop there. You know the left is warning about this, but they say this woman in particular is not going to be good for women in general.
What the left is doing is saying only certain women are going to be allowed to have a seat at the table. And of course, we know that that is their signaling that if you're a conservative woman, if you are pro-life, pro-family, pro-religion, they don't want to hear from you. And that is pretty much the way they have treated Judge Barrett during these hearings. There's been a lot of condescending to her, a lot of assumptiveness that, well, she wasn't well enough prepared. She wasn't a part of the clique or the club. She didn't go to the Ivy League schools. She hasn't lived on the East Coast. She doesn't have a D.C. pedigree. All things, Shannon, that they think are vitally important for someone who is going to take a seat on the Supreme Court. But what we saw was Judge Barrett exercised discipline. She is very intelligent, bright, well-informed, knows what she's talking about, and she did it all without a single binder or note in front of her. It really was an amazing 2 days of questions.
Well, I want to play a little bit of some of the questions that came in from Senator Mazie Hirono, one of your Democratic colleagues there on the committee, and we'll talk about what she asked.
Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator Hirono.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator.
What was that all about?
You know, Senator Hirono does that for every single person that comes up. But the thing that is so interesting is, you know, Shannon, someone would never have made it through the FBI vetting process if there were a problem such as that in their background, or if they had ever had a settlement for such. This is part of her grandstanding. It's part of an arrogance, if you will, that says, you know, I can hold you to account or ask you questions that will make you feel uncomfortable.
So what do you make of the constant pushing on Judge Barrett that either she is not going to be able to be an independent thinker because the allegations there, as I talked about in the piece, are by the Democrats that she is going to be put on the court to get rid of Obamacare, we're going to talk about it later on in the show, or that she's being put there so that she can hand the president the election in case there's a dispute that gets to the high court, or that she's simply just going to be a cookie-cutter approach following in the steps of Justice Scalia, whom she clerked for, as if she can't have an independent thought for herself.
Well, this, there again, goes back to what they think about conservative women and the stereotyping that they do. You can't think for yourself. You are a token. You're put there to do someone's bidding. But the important thing about Judge Barrett is she has earned her way to a seat at the table. And this is why all of their assaults and attacks that they made in that hearing room, they could not seem to land an attack on her at all. And she was very well prepared. And she knew exactly, she could quote all the cases, she could reference the work and her writings and do it without referring to notes. If she felt like she misspoke, she asked for the opportunity to clarify that statement, so they never could land an attack on her, which I think is really to her credit. And even though, you saw some of our colleagues say that they thought she would institute a new season of activism, conservative activism at the court, or that she did not understand the recusal process, or that she was less than clear on certain items. She was able to refute every single bit of that.
Yep. She said she has a mind of her own and she's going to use it. All right, Senator,
Yes,
good to
she
have you with
does.
us.